Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Dr. Damon Silas, author of What's Your Action Plan? 6 Powerful Ways to Get Unstuck in Your Life Now. Dr. Damon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I appreciate it.
We are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I am. Let's go.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
This is a great question. I love, that you're helping authors just get off their, get off the starting blocks, essentially. And so what I would tell a first-time author is to just write. To get up and write every morning, just write. There's a wonderful book by Hal Elrod, and he talks about this miracle morning for authors. And what we can do is just get up and write, and sometimes we have this, what they call a writer's block. And I think sometimes that's just the analytical mind just getting in the way of letting the words flow on the page. So perhaps it's even starting by meditating in the morning, just clearing your mind before even getting to the page. But once you sit down, just start writing, let the words flow. Because what I noticed in my writing process was when I put a lot of analytical thought into it, it actually blocked me. When I started just writing, that's when the process really started happening just very naturally. And so I think just allowing yourself to sit down, write, don't give up. A lot of times people may say, well, the right words aren't coming, or it's not coming at the right time. Just keep going, just keep pushing through, because it will come together, And one of the things that I learned in writing not only the second book, but the first book is sometimes it doesn't come out the way that we go in it, planning for it to show up. So, I would just say, keep going, keep at it. Don't give up.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
So this is an interesting one. I've done both routes. I've gone the, through a publishing company, but I've also done the self-publishing route. One of the things is it definitely is a financial commitment, so it has to be one that you're willing to take. And again, so if you're going the self-publishing route, it's going to be a little bit different than going through a publishing company, but it definitely is that financial commitment that you have to make. The other thing is it can be scary. It can be a vulnerable process, just not knowing how people may respond to whatever it is you're writing about. So whether it's fiction, nonfiction, maybe it's your own story, maybe it's something to help other people. But I would say just committing to that goal of getting your message out there. And it can be very hard. It can be very scary because you may not know how it's going to be received, and that's okay. But just knowing that perhaps if it touches one person in a positive way, then that's exactly what you want to accomplish. And that's what, just putting that out there, that is what will happen. That will help in the publishing process. But I would also tell people to just be clear about what type of, if they go through through a publishing company, what type of publishing company do you want to align yourself with? Do they hold the same values as you? Do they have the same morals and ethics and all that stuff? Do they put out books that have a similar message to yours? So really getting clear on that is going to be important for a lot of people. And again, if you go the self-publishing route, it's just being able to bring in all the different parts together. So getting somebody to do the artwork, getting somebody to do the editing, all of those pieces, just having those all lined up is a pertinent part of that process.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Sure. So I kind of took bits and pieces from different people online. I did a couple of online coaching programs that really helped with these ideas too. But first and foremost, just getting out and talking about the book has been extremely helpful. So whether it's going to different networking groups or groups that can resonate and relate to the message that I want to put out there, that has been very helpful in just getting the word out. And sometimes it's not even a matter of actually selling the book, but it's just a matter of giving it away. So, uh, you know, nowadays, what you may hear people talk about is the fact that sometimes your book is almost just like a business card. And so that again, though, could be a great way to just market your book and give it away for free. But the other thing is giveaways. So I did a King Sumo giveaway, which is just a random website that you can do certain giveaways. I've done giveaways on different holidays. So, I think it's just about having fun with the entire process. Marketing is very tough, and I'll speak for myself specifically. The publishing of the book is one thing, but the sales and marketing is something completely different that sometimes people don't think about or put to the side until you realize, oh, wait, I've actually put this book out. I have it out there for the world to see, but the world needs to learn that it is actually out there. So, what can I do to heighten that awareness? So again, whether it's getting out there, showing your face, talking to different groups, or even just giving away your book to different people you come across, or groups, or people who can relate to your message or need to hear your message, all of those things have been very helpful for me, at least.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the giveaways. So you mentioned King Sumo. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So I believe I may have done that around a holiday. And so sometimes I will give the book away as long, just click here. You can get the book for free, but just leave a review. So asking for something kind of in exchange for getting that book. And it's really just about, helping to spread the word. And especially if it's a book that has been helpful for other people. Both of my books are kind of fall in the self-help realm. So, but if they got some value out of it, just leave a review for me. And so finding those, again, fun ways to give the book away, but also to get that feedback from your audience, because sometimes we think that we are giving the audience what they want, but they may have something else that they got out of the book or want to get out of your books moving forward.
So with King Sumo, how does the process work? Is there an investment involved? What's the process?
No, that's actually a free website. At least the last time I used it, it's been several months since I last used it. But it's a free website, and you just go on, create an account, and then figure out whatever the giveaway is that you want to do. And it's a fairly straightforward, pretty easy process.
Got it. And then so you get it set up, and then what happens from there? Are they promoting it, or how does it work?
No, it's you're promoting it, so you can put it on your social media pages. You can get a link to send via email to people. So you can even send it to your existing email list and say, hey, go ahead and you can get this free book. And if you share it with or tag 3 people in this giveaway, you'll also be entered to us. Now, I haven't done this, but some people actually give away other gifts when they do giveaways like this. So they may give away a Nook or an iPad or some sort of tablet that people can read on. So it really just depends on what your budget is too. But if you don't have that much of a budget, you do have your book, and so you can give your book away. But you really get to choose. You have the option to choose whatever it is you decide on giving away and how that works.
Got it. Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Ah, so this is This was a tough question for me, Paul. Favorites are always a tough question for me because I tend to like something from every genre and everything. I can always find the good in something. Um, so this is how I'm going to do it. Uh, I do love anything James Patterson, I must admit. But when it comes to the field of psychology, I do love The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. He really goes into depth about how trauma and PTSD affect people. Trauma and PTSD are my specialty areas, so that one has been a huge part of my process and learning process, growth process, and being able to pass along that information to some of the clients that I work with. But and I know I'm going off script because you asked for one, but I am gonna have to say that, and I mentioned this book earlier, The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod, and he partners with different people for different. It's a series now, so he has something for realtors and millionaires and writers and authors. But this series of books has just been tremendously helpful, and it actually helped even in coming up with the format for my book, What's Your Action Plan? Because action is actually an acronym for 6 different things that can be helpful in helping people get unstuck. And Hal Elrod uses a very similar process in his books where he talks about lifesavers. And those are the 6 things that you can do first thing in the morning to establish a routine. And once you establish a routine, once you start your day off in that routine, it just sets the whole tone for the rest of the day. Too often people nowadays wake up and they go for their email or social media, or they turn on the TV, and it floods your mind and your brain with a lot of not so goodness, if that's a word. But just starting off your day with a very intentional morning routine really helps set the tone for the rest of the day. So The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod has been a wonderful book.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh, I love this quote by Marianne Williamson, which is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And I love this quote because it just speaks to how a lot of us, play small when we have so much to offer the world. And the world truly is waiting for us to discover that light, rediscover that light, I should say, so that it can be shown upon the rest of the world. And there is no better time than now for us to continue to shine our light as bright as we can to make this world a brighter and better place. So I love that quote by Marianne Williamson.
Well, Dr. Damon, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Sure. So they can find me on my website, which is DamonSilasPsychology.com. That's all one word. So it's DamonSilasPsychology.com. They could also find me on Facebook, and that's at Damon Silas Psychology. And there are also links to some pages. I also do some coaching work, so there are links to find me via coaching too on those 2 websites. And on Instagram, I am at drsilas_psychology. So that's at drsilas_psychology for my Instagram page.
Well, Dr. Damon, I want to thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.